First off, Stan, welcome back. When you look back at your time at Aston Villa, what's your main emotion?
Main emotion is about joining a great club. This is the emotion that you can't get away with it, because obviously moving down to England and playing for Aston Villa was great, because I knew the history of the club, I knew the size of the club as well. I was coming down from Celtic, another big club as well, another European winner. And when you move from one European winner to another, you know the expectation, you know what the fans would be expecting from you, you know the standard you need to set up. So it's great emotions, and I couldn't wait to start when I started for Villa.
Tell us a story of when you arrived here, how the move came about, and also what you knew about Aston Villa before you joined.
Well, the move was a bit different. I was on the way to sign for Portsmouth with Harry Redknapp, and I remember it was only 2 days before the international games, so I was on the way down, and obviously Aston Villa at that moment, Martin O'Neill was the manager of Aston Villa. They struck a deal with Celtic. They've paid a bigger fee than at Portsmouth, and I had a phone call early in the morning that negotiation now will go towards Aston Villa instead of Portsmouth. So I had a little conversation with Harry Redknapp. He says out of his hands they can't afford the fee that Villa are paying, and I need to negotiate with Aston Villa. So everything happened. I remember negotiating the deal until 3:30 in the morning, and I need to fly 6:30 that morning as well. So it was a bit quick and unexpected, I would say. But it was good, and I'm glad I've made that choice.
Obviously, as you said, Martin O'Neill signed you, a man that you knew well from Celtic. What was the draw of Martin, and how good was Martin as a manager?
Well, obviously I've worked with Martin for 5 years at Celtic, and I knew him as a manager. I knew his demands. I knew what he expected from players. And at Celtic we had a very successful time. He had a very good team. So when the offer came and they told me that I need to speak with Aston Villa, and Martin O'Neill were showing a strong interest, I kind of asked the question, what would you looking to build? And he say, I'm looking to build a team to challenge for Europe, to bring success to the fans. I want to be a successful manager here, and I'd like you to be part of it. It will be a bumpy season or two, but give me a bit of time, and I'll show you which way and what direction we're gonna go to. And that was enough for me. And obviously I was at Celtic for a long time, so for me it was time to change, to challenge myself in the Premier League, and it was a great opportunity.
Your first game at West Ham. Before the game, everyone was talking about Mascherano and Tevez making their debut for West Ham, but after the game, the talk was all about your debut and how well you played. What do you remember of that game?
I remember I just come back from international. I've managed to only train with the boys only one training session, and then we went down to London. So Martin picked me up, and it was a great game. I think the team played really well. We were very well organised. We played against a very good West Ham team, and I played really well. I think I've missed 2 chances, and it was a great debut. I remember when everybody was talking about, and it was promising big things, but then after that I had a big dip in my form, which going from one stream to the next. But it's the moments that you've learned, and it makes you stronger.
I was going to ask you about that tough spell, because obviously in that game we saw the Celtic Stiliyan Petrov, the attack-minded, forward-thinking player, but under Martin you became more of a kind of anchor man in midfield, didn't you?
Yeah, and that's when all the problems happen, and that's what Martin said to me. The start will be a bumpy road, for a season or 2. That's when Martin O'Neill started bringing a lot of young players. A lot of players were leaving the club, and we tried to find the balance of the team. So after 10 games through the season, I've managed to score my first goal against Sheffield. I've had a couple of assists. Everything was going well, and all of a sudden I need to move to the right to play in the wide area. What for me was very difficult, because the tempo of the Premier League, and the full backs in the Premier League, they're quicker, they're stronger. and it was very difficult for me, but for me it was important to be part of the team, to do my job as the best as I can. And I saw a big dip in my form, but afterwards, Martin, you had like Ashley Young and Stuart Downing, and players that can play this position better. And Gareth obviously was playing very well as a midfield. Nigel Riehl came, he played a little bit better when he came. And for me it was difficult to get back in the team, and Martin O'Neill had a stronger players that are hungry and willing to win games for him, and it was normal. But for me it was a normal situation in a football club and for a player, so for me it was only need to battle. But it took about 4.5, 5 months. I wasn't playing, the fans were on the back of me, a lot of expectations. I knew what I need to do, work harder, get fitter and wait for my chance. I remember Martin O'Neill telling me that if I didn't make it, he would loan me a League Two team, and I didn't know if he was serious or he was joking. But he worked away, but I need to adapt in a different position because Martin had some incredible players going forward. Ashley Young and Stuart Downing, Gabriel Bonahor, John Carew, great players, and give a different dimension. So my position changed completely. Not really new for me because I played that position in my national team, and I knew the position inside out. I knew what is required from me. I knew that I won't be the same players as where I was at Celtic, and the expectation will be different. But I needed to adapt. I need to be a part of that balance in the team and make sure that I do my job, and the job that I do will benefit the team.
Well, straight to Petrov, driving from distance. What a goal! What a goal from Stiliyan Petrov. I said he likes to do that from distance, and that is unbelievable.
Despite that deeper role in the team, you scored one of the most memorable Aston Villa goals of modern times against Derby. Can you talk to us about that? Because fans do talk about it all the time.
Well, at that time, that was the closest I could get to go, so I need to improvise, I need to be different. But it's one of these things that it comes not very often as a player, to have that opportunity, that moment, to take that shot. It's just the instinct. If somebody say that he practiced and he meant the goal, it wasn't. It's just one of these crazy moments in football that you take a chance and it pays off. But at the end, people talk about it years after.
That was obviously the 2008 season, the first of 3 sixth-place finishes. How good was that Aston Villa team under Martin?
Very good. We had incredible team spirit. We fought for each other. We knew each other inside out. We knew how important is the team. Nobody was mourning if he wasn't playing, and everybody who wasn't playing, had a great input during the season. And I think twice we missed by. I remember one of the seasons. I remember 20 games to go. We were like 11 points in front of Arsenal, and we're thinking we've done it. We had a great atmosphere in the team. We were playing well. We were unstoppable. The teams had a fear against us. And then we couldn't win a game for 2 months. It's one of these things in football. But we had that winning mentality. We had great togetherness. We knew how good we are, and we knew the teams, especially when they come to Villa Park, they feared us. They knew what they're coming up with. Even the bigger team, Man United, Chelsea, they knew that when they come here, they'll have a hard game, and they need to be at their best to beat us, which is a great achievement as a team. And when you're manager of that team, you should be proud that you have a team like that.
That team, as you mentioned, Lauriston, Friedel, Carew, Agbonlahor, Young, great players. The one player I want to talk to you about is Gareth Barry, the player that's most closely linked with you due to the position on the pitch. How good was Gareth as a player individually, and why did that partnership work so well?
Gareth knows the football and the position he plays in midfield inside out. He's so clever, his football brain is second to none. He knew when to slow the game, he knew when to pick up the pace of the game, he knew how to control the game. He's not one of the fastest ones, but he was one of the cleverest ones. He knew when to sit deep, when to go forward, when to push, when to hold. You don't see many players like that. And me and him, we had an understanding. I knew is might require. You know, we moved the ball quicker. We were very comfortable on the ball. We knew the way we were playing. We knew our players inside out. We knew what Ashley can do, what Stewie Downing can do, what John can do, Gabby can do. If a team stay high against us and we have Gabby, soon we put two passes together, one of us knew what was coming. We knew, and Gabby knew. So it's very hard to find a good partnership in football, and I've managed to find it with Gabby, and I love playing with him.
Of all people, it was Stiliyan Petrov who arrived.
Obviously some incredible games in that era. If you look back, Blues 5-1, Man City opening day 4-2, you had Everton 3-2 where Ashley scored in the last minute. If you had to pick one game that you played in for Aston Villa, which one would you say is the one that you look back most favourably on?
The Birmingham derby 5-1-1. Was the atmosphere was electric. The build-up was big. I think we were playing really well. We were on a high, but that game we just started off. We never looked back. We just started 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the boys enjoyed it. The fans loved it, and I'll probably pick that one.
If you look at the time you spent here, obviously it was a fantastic team, fantastic times. Is there a bit of disappointment, frustration that you look at trying to qualify for the Champions League, FA Cup semi-final, League Cup final? You were just so close, weren't you?
Of course, yeah. This is what it's about, the competition, to win trophies, medals. You know, that's what football is all about. As a player, you want to achieve that, but also fans are proud of it. We couldn't do it, and that was the disappointing bit from our time at Villa. That we had a great team. We had a team that knew how to win games, and we just couldn't do it. And that was the disappointing thing. And I think it hurt us all that we couldn't win anything.
During your era,
actually, we won the Peace Cup, if you remember. There you go.
Correct.
We'll
I was there as well.
We'll take that one, yeah. We'll take that one.
Another one of the modern day most popular players, Martin Lowison, had to retire unfortunately during your time with the football club, but that opened the door for you for the captaincy. What does that mean to you to have been Aston Villa captain?
Honour, a proud footballer and a human being, because being a captain is very special for me. I take it very serious. I think being a captain is like assistant coach, because sometimes on the pitch you need to act, you need to make decisions, and for the good of the team. You know, sometimes you need to sacrifice your own game just to help the others, to be a good teammate, to understand. This is very important, and I was really honoured. And you know, I've done my captaincies with honour, and I managed to do it the best I can. I think I've behaved very well for a big club like Aston Villa, and like I say, it's something that I treasure very highly, to be a captain in a team like Aston Villa.
Then obviously life changed in a dramatic way for you with a health crisis. I wanted to ask you this question. How much did it mean to you to have the Aston Villa family behind you during that period?
Amazing. You know, it's, to have the support of a club is amazing. You know, and the fans were incredible with all my journey, and still, you know, they still support me. They're still behind me, which is great to see. But that just shows you what you've done for the club and how much you've achieved as a player for the club. And it's great, and I give as a great example that the Villa fans been tremendous to me, but they're tremendous to all the players that've been through the club, you know, because they love the club. You know, like I say, I was honoured to play for the club like that, and been given the support they've given me.
If you don't mind me saying, you're looking very fit and very well. How do you look back at that long road now that you had to go through? Has it made you stronger as a person?
With a smile. I appreciate, I enjoy, because when you survive disease like that, you know how privileged you to be alive, to really enjoy the little things in life, you know, a little smile, little seeing your kids growing up, and seeing my wife every day, and enjoy life in general. This is how I look back, because I had some dark, tough moments. I had a tough, but with the support and encouragement and the hope people have given me, I've managed to pull through.
Stiliyan Petrov could be in here. Aston Villa have the breakthrough. It could be a giant leap towards Champions League football.
It's July 2016, the news filters through to our offices. You're taking part in pre-season training again at the training ground. Amazing outpouring of love and support from the fans. What was that moment like for you? Because to go through what you had to go through and then to actually be back at the training ground, training, incredible.
Yeah, this is a very painful subject to talk about, but of course I'm okay to talk about it. People don't realize, people always saw, I love football. So at a young age, I love football. I wanted to play football. This is what it's all about. And when you're prepared to finish with football and you say stop, it's great. You're prepared, you're ready, you know what's coming. But when it's taken away from you, it's very difficult, and I couldn't accept it. But for me to go back in football, it wasn't just playing. I knew how difficult the battle with cancer is, and for me it was the main reason for me to go back and play is to show people that fight cancer that it's a way back. It's a way to recover and go back to your life. But people didn't understand that. Going back to do a pre-season, it took me a lot. Don't forget it, when I was playing, I was 84, 85 kilos. When I decided that I would like to go back and do a pre-season with Villa, I was 139. So in a space of a year and a half, I need to work with the personal coaches, I need to work with dietitians to make sure I'll come to a weight that I can actually go through a pre-season. And you know what? I haven't missed a second. I haven't missed a day. And a lot of people didn't know that. And I had in my group running was Gabriel Barry and a few other ones. And some of the runs I'll run and they'll push me in the back just to help me to finish the run. But I haven't stopped it. And when they've told me that they won't offer anything, well, it's like I was begging for contract. That what hurts me really bad. I was told that they won't be offering anything, and I had so many questions to ask why and go, but I was tired to fight. I was tired to, they didn't get the big picture. They didn't get the big picture, and for me, I could only play. I had a couple offers to go on different championship teams, League One teams, but I wanted to finish here. I want to show people that it happened here, and it's still way back, but it didn't happen, and it hurt me, but I'm over it now. It's something that you carry it, and at one point you just drop it and you move forward.
And very finally, what does this football club mean to you, looking back now?
Family. I say that, family, support and desire to win and fight, which is very important, and the fans still got it. And I hope that the club will be back soon where it belongs, because the fans deserve it, and I'm sure that they'll get it what they deserve.